Welcome to the video of our 14-night med cruise aboard P&O Azura Part 1. In this video we arrive in Malta, visit Athens, Mykonos and Heraklion and have one sea day. Our day started at 3:45 a.m. when we got up to pack the car and headed to London Gatwick to catch our 8:30 BA flight to Malta. Once through security we went to Big Smoke and got breakfast baps. This turned out to be a very wise decision, not knowing what was about to happen next. The gate was called and we all got there at 7:30 a.m. We were called onto the plane in rows and all seemed to be going well. We sat on the plane and the captain announced there was a technical issue with the plane. We sat and watched maintenance teams come and go. Eventually, at around midday, we moved off the stand, only to have another announcement from the captain about a new error occurring. He made the decision that he was not going to fly this plane. He said there would be another plane available for us at 2:15. We sat on the plane for another 2 hours. 6.5 hours in total, sat on the tarmac without going anywhere. We were given cups of water, a cereal bar and a shortbread biscuit, and no one for the last 2 hours could use the toilets. Eventually we were towed back to the terminal. We were told we would be issued food vouchers, but this did not happen. We were held at the gate and they let a few people out to use the toilets, but most people were not allowed out as they wanted to get us all boarded onto the new plane. We had about 10 minutes at the gate and we got on the new plane. Upon boarding, the captain announced they were trying to get some food on board for us all. What we got was a can of wine and a tub of mini Pringles. They only had 14 sandwiches on board, so they went to the first 14 people they served. We landed at around 7:30 p.m. in Malta and everyone cheered at finally getting to our destination. We were in the very long line for passport control, and once we got through we collected our cases and they were put on a trailer to go straight to the cabins. We had damage to our cases, but we were too tired, hungry and stressed to report it. You enter the terminal through a cave, which is actually quite cool and it's a really lovely building. We boarded the ship and had to report to our muster station and go to the theatre for the safety briefing. At this point we knew we would miss our 8:30 second seating dinner slot. After the briefing, we had to go to our rooms to get our cruise cards so we could order drinks at dinner. Cabins with even-numbered doors are located on the port side, which is the left side of the ship. Even numbers are on the starboard side, which is the right side of the ship. Once we had located our cabin and got our key cards, we needed to find somewhere to eat. We went to the Peninsula restaurant, hoping they would be able to seat the 6 of us. We got there at 8:45 p.m. and they closed at 9 p.m, but thankfully they were able to accommodate us and we finally got to eat. After dinner, we just went back to the room. The servers at dinner told us that the clocks would be going forward 1 hour so that we would be on Greek time. We found our dinner cards and we had been allocated the Oriental restaurant for each night of our cruise at 8:30. We also found our shore excursion tickets for the first week. There are several options with the dining. You can choose to be allocated a restaurant at the same time every night, either at 6:30 or 8:30 p.m. Or you can do freedom dining and attend many of the other restaurants by joining a virtual queue. You can also book one of the 3 specialty restaurants. You need to insert your cruise card into the slot inside the door to turn the power on in the cabin. There is one plug that is always on, so that you can leave something on charge when you are out of the room. We unpacked a few essentials and went straight to sleep. The next day was a sea day and we ended up sleeping in quite late. We decorated our cabin doors with our cruise magnets. We booked 3 standard balcony rooms, one made up with a queen bed and the other 2 twin. The room has a fridge and a TV with live programs and on-demand TV shows and movies. Our rooms had large balconies. These are partially overlooked by the rooms above, but this was not a problem. The bathroom has white company toiletries and shower gel, shampoo and hand soap are provided. There were 2 pool towels in the bathroom. Once used, you just swap the used one for clean ones at the towel station on deck 15. If your sun lounger is left unoccupied for more than 30 minutes, your belongings will be removed and taken to the lonely lounger pickup point at the Coral Pool on deck 15. We made a cup of tea with the facilities in the room, but we had no sugar. We mentioned it to the room host and he replenished it. He also told us that he only does the rooms between 8:30 and 12:30. So after unpacking, we headed to an early lunch. We turned our magnet from taking it easy to gone exploring, so the room host knew the room was free to clean. If you don't put the magnet out, they will not enter the room. We went to the Peninsula restaurant for lunch, which is open from 12 o'clock to 1:30. We joined the normal queue line and we were seated very quickly. The standard of the food in the restaurant is very good and the staff are very friendly and helpful. After lunch, we decided to explore the ship and discover where everything was. After exploring the ship, we went to the glass house for some drinks. We purchased the classic drinks package for 5 of us and the alcohol-free package for our under 18. The same drinks package must be purchased by guests aged over 18 years sharing a cabin. Under 18s can be on a different package. There is a limit of 15 alcoholic drinks per day and soft drinks are unlimited. You can only order a drink every 15 minutes. There is no record of the drinks you have ordered, so you need to keep a count and check the time yourself. When you look at the drinks menu, You will see the letters R, A, C and D to indicate which drinks are included in which package. The packages are Refresh, Alcohol-Free, Classic and Deluxe. With the Classic and Deluxe package, you get a 20% discount on drinks excluded from the packages. You can get discounts on drinks packages if you purchase at the time of booking your cruise, and also up to 3 days prior to sailing when purchased through myPNOcruises.com. It's not on the menu, but in the glasshouse you can also order a pink gin spritz and mojito. We chose the Classic package because it includes all the soft drinks, coffee and most alcoholic drinks. We went back to the room to change for our couple's hot stone massage at the spa. We had a letter with information on our flight delay and vouchers for free drinks. The vouchers were not much use to us though, as we had already purchased a drinks package. We had a quick look through the Horizon magazine to see what the evening entertainment was going to be on that night. You will receive a Horizon magazine every day, and this is delivered in the evening for the next day's activities. We also found the locations for the formal night professional photographs. It was celebration night. This is a black tie evening and you are expected to dress accordingly. We arrived at the spa and our therapists were delayed, so we were late starting our massage. The massage was also disturbed by crew moving some loungers directly above the treatment room. Our therapist gave us a complimentary foot massage as an apology for the issues. They freely offered this to us. We did not raise any complaint as we still enjoyed the massage and found the therapist to be professional, friendly and very helpful. The only issue for us is that it didn't give us much time to get glammed up for celebration night, but as this was a 2-week cruise, there would be plenty of other opportunities, so not a big deal for us. We visited 2 of the 4 photographer locations before heading to the celebration dinner. This is a 5-course menu that starts with an amuse-bouche in liquid form. For starters, we all chose the pork. None of us opted for the soup course, and this is something you will need to request if you want it. We ordered the beef, which was very enjoyable. We had desserts, and after dessert they brought some fudge for the table. After dinner, we decided to go to the Malabar for drinks and karaoke. When we returned to the cabin, we looked through the Horizon magazine for information regarding our first port day in Pireus. We needed to take our passports with us and have our cruise cards ready to be scanned off the ship. We had booked a shore excursion and the meeting point is quayside 10 minutes before the tour time. After finding out all the information ready for the shore excursion tomorrow, we went to sleep looking forward to our day in Athens. We woke up at our first port stop, the port of Pireus. We booked a shore excursion through P&O to have a guided tour of the Acropolis. When you get off the ship, you have to wait for a shuttle bus to take you to the cruise terminal. You then proceed through the terminal to the coach park where the excursion buses are parked. You will need to allow extra time for this in your plans if you are on an excursion or meeting your own guide. In the terminal, we picked up a map of Athens with details of tours that you can take. There is also a hop-on, hop-off bus available. We got on the coach and were given a Bluetooth earpiece for the tour. The coach journey took around 40 minutes, even though it isn't too far away, as the traffic in Athens is very congested. We left the coach and there was a walk up several flights of stairs to the entrance. We stopped at the entrance for people to use the toilets and for the guide to issue our tickets. We were scanned through and began the ascent to the Acropolis. The guide did this in stages, stopping at intervals in the shade and providing us with information on the history of the site. This was a great approach as it meant everyone could keep up and we got a break from the sun on a very hot day. Make sure you bring plenty of water with you as none is provided on the tour and there wasn't the opportunity to purchase beforehand. The Acropolis is a fortified ancient citadel situated on a hill overlooking the city of Athens. It was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1987, recognising its exceptional value and its importance as a symbol of classical Greek civilization. The Acropolis is home to many ancient buildings, the most famous being the Parthenon. The Parthenon was built between 447 and 438 BC as a temple dedicated to the goddess Athena. The guide provides in-depth information on all the buildings at the Acropolis and how everything fits into the historical timeline. In 1687, during the Marian War, the Parthenon was significantly damaged when it was being used to store gunpowder by the Ottomans. A Venetian cannonball struck the building, causing a massive explosion that destroyed a large portion of the structure. As you make your way around the site, you will need to be careful where you step, as the ground can be slippery as the marble has become worn from so many tourists visiting the site. There are also areas that are very rocky and uneven. The Acropolis attracts 4.5 million visitors every year, so it can be quite crowded. It's best to go early in the day when it is quieter and cooler. After the tour, you are given some free time outside of the Acropolis near the coach park. There are some souvenir shops and some cafes. We picked up a few souvenirs and got some much needed cold drinks before treating ourselves to an ice cream. We went to the meeting point at the allocated time and reboarded the coach. On the way back to the ship, we had a mini tour of Athens with the guide pointing out important landmarks and providing interesting facts along the way. We reached the cruise terminal and it was very busy. We were in the same queue for security as other people checking in for their cruises. It took about 30 minutes to get through. It was very hot and stressful as people kept pushing between us. There was no requirement to show our passports. We just needed to show our cruise card and have our bags scanned. When we got back on the ship, we dropped our bags in the room and headed to deck 15 to get some drinks and lunch from the pool area. Some of us decided to get pizza. There were 3 choices: margherita, pepperoni and meat feast. These are freshly cooked in the pizza oven and taste great. The rest went to the grill and got burgers and hot dogs. We had a look through the drinks menu and there is a good selection of cocktails. We opted for margaritas and mojitos. After lunch, we had a walk around the outside deck areas. We found the terrace bar and pool at the back of the ship. This is a nice place to sit for views of the port. It was getting a bit too hot to be outside in the direct sunlight, so we went to the glass house for drinks. The kids stayed and played cards, and we took our drinks back to the room to enjoy on the balcony, which had views of the Acropolis. Before dinner, we had drinks at the Blue Bar. Here you can get cosmopolitans and passion fruit martinis. In this venue, they add popping candy to the passion fruit martinis, which they don't do anywhere else on the ship. On the walk from the Blue Bar to the Oriental restaurant for dinner, we saw an amazing sunset. We once again enjoyed an amazing dinner in the Oriental. We had the same servers every night and they were so amazing, professional, attentive and very helpful. After dinner, we went to the Manhattan entertainment venue for the One-Liner Comedy Club, where John Clegg was performing. After a fun evening of comedy, we went back to the cabin and looked through the Horizon magazine to get all the information ready for tomorrow's stop in Mykonos. For our second port stop at Mykonos, we did not book a shore excursion and decided to explore on our own. There was a free shuttle bus provided by P&O just a short walk from the ship. There is also the option to take a sea bus directly outside the ship and the cost is €2 per person. You can also take a ferry to the nearby island of Delos. Delos is a major archaeological site known for its mythological significance as the birthplace of Apollo and Athena. I think we would definitely do this on a return visit, but as first-timers to the island, we decided to explore the old town. It is very easy to get around and there are maps along the way to help guide you. We decided to head straight to the Windmills as it was the furthest point out. You will pass several small sandy beaches, so there's always the opportunity to go for a quick dip. We couldn't see anywhere to get changed though, but there are some public toilets and there's a fee of €1 to use them. To reach the Windmills, you will need to navigate Little Venice. This is a small stretch of pavement directly on the coastline, and the waves come crashing in across the path. If you don't fancy the jeopardy of walking Little Venice, there is an alternative route round. We managed to walk through avoiding the waves and we didn't get wet. From here, it is just a short uphill walk to the Windmills. There are 16 windmills on the island and 7 of them are on the hilltop. Most of the windmills were built by the Venetians and were primarily used to mill wheat. They were an important source of income for the inhabitants. Their use gradually declined until they ceased production in the middle of the 20th century. We spent some time looking around and taking some photos. There are also some great views over the harbour from this location. There are some beautiful churches to stop and look around as you make your way around the old town, and it's definitely worth spending a little time exploring them. We navigated our way around the narrow cobbled streets of whitewashed buildings, and it's amazing to get lost wandering through the labyrinth of narrow streets originally designed to confuse pirates. The front doors are traditionally painted blue, green or red to reflect the occupation of the owner. Blue is used by sailors, green for farmers and red for everyone else. We did a little souvenir shopping before heading to a taverna to try some authentic Greek food. We ordered a Greek meze platter, garlic bread stuffed with cream cheese, fried meatballs, pork gyros, chicken gyros and Knossos French fries. We put it all in the middle to share, so we each got to try a bit of everything. The food was really fresh and the quality was excellent, and the sea views made this an excellent lunch. After lunch, we made our way back to the meeting point for the shuttle bus back to the ship. We didn't have to wait long to get on. There were long queues to get back on the ship, but it moved reasonably quickly, so we were not stood out in the sun for too long. Once we were back on board, we went to the buffet to get dessert. There is a good selection of desserts and there are a lot of gluten-free options. We then went to the terrace bar for some cocktails and to play cards. Before dinner, we went to have our photos taken with the professional photographer and got some drinks at the Blue Bar. Dinner was again a good experience with quality food and excellent service. For the evening entertainment, we went to the Manhattan to watch the Headliners Theatre Company perform classic 70s floor fillers in their show Blame It on the Boogie. On returning to the cabin, we looked over the Horizon magazine for the next day's activities and information. We booked a P&O shore excursion for our third port stop at Heraklion in Crete. If you are exploring Herkalion on your own, there is a shuttle bus to the cruise terminal. From there, you will need to make your own way into town, which is about a 1 kilometre walk. There is a public bus every 15 minutes from the port to the city centre. We booked a tour to Knossos, which also included time in Heraklion. We got on the coach and were given Bluetooth earpieces for the tour guide to give us information on the history of the site. It was a quick transfer from the ship to Knossos, around 15 to 20 minutes. The coach parks in a car park away from the site and it's around a 5 to 10 minute walk to get there. The site of Knossos was a major centre of the Minoan civilization and is known for its association with the Greek myth of Theseus and the Minotaur. The earliest parts of the palace were built around 1900 BC. The palace was continually renovated and expanded over the next 5 centuries until its final destruction around 1350 BC. In 1900, British archaeologist Sir Arthur Evans began excavating the site. He made a decision to restore parts of the site using modern building materials, so a lot of what you see are 20th century reconstructions. There are some elements that are original, including parts of the throne room, the grand staircase and some frescoes. The guide will point out what are original features and what are restorations. There was a lot of information on the history of the site and the Greek mythology associated with it. After the tour, we reboarded the coach and drove to the town of Heraklion. The guide led us from the car park into the town, about a 5 to 10 minute walk. She told us where all the main landmarks were and where the best place was to shop. She then gave us the time to meet back at the coach for the return journey to the ship. There is the option to stay longer and get the ship's shuttle bus back, but you must tell the guide that this is your intention. We started at the shopping area. There is a long street with shops on both sides selling the normal souvenirs plus lots of local and handmade items. From here, we went to explore the main landmarks that the guide had told us about. We started at the Morrison Fountain, a Venetian fountain central to the city used as a meeting point for guides and locals alike. From here we made our way to the Venetian Agea, a beautifully preserved Venetian building that once served as a meeting place for Venetian nobles and is now the city's town hall. We continued on to St. Titus Cathedral, a prominent Orthodox church dedicated to St. Titus. The church has a long and complex history reflecting the island's diverse cultural influences. We continued down the 25th of August Street to Cole's Fortress, a Venetian fortress located at the Old Harbour. This was the last landmark for us to see, so we made our way back to the meeting point for the coach, which was at the Archaeological Museum. We just about made it to the coach at the agreed time, so we didn't have to wait long before the coach left for the return journey to the ship. When we returned to the ship, we went to the Peninsula restaurant for lunch. After lunch, we went to our complimentary foot massage in the Oasis spa, and the kids went to hit some balls in the golf nets before attending a free origami craft class. For dinner that evening, we had reservations at the Epicurean speciality restaurant. We booked this in advance and payment is required at the time of booking. The cost was £30 per person. If you book on board, the cost is £35 per person. This is a 2.5-hour dining experience, so you need to allow time for this and think about what time you want to reserve if there are other activities you want to do. To start, they bring you a liquid amuse-bouche and a selection of fancy breads and butters. For our starters, we selected slow-cooked ox cheek, roasted red pepper parfait, and the hamon. The hamon is freshly carved at the table. For the main course, we chose maple-glazed pork T-bone, slow-cooked lamb, and sirloin steak. They then brought us an ice lolly as a palate cleanser. For dessert, we had chocolate Jaffa cake, lemon meringue tart, apple and juniper berry crumble, and crepe Suzette. The crepes are made at the table, and this is quite fun to watch and made the dining experience more interactive. To end the meal, they gave us a plate of chocolates. We really enjoyed the food at this restaurant, and everything was of a very good quality. After dinner, we went to the Planet Bar on deck 18 for drinks. You need to wait to be seated, but we didn't wait long before being shown to a table for 6. We looked through the menu and there were no cosmopolitans on the list, but the waitress said they could make them no problems, so it's always worth asking, you never know. We went back to the cabin and checked over the Horizon magazine ready for the next day. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with our content. Please watch parts 2 and 3 of our cruise video where we visit Souda Bay, Valletta, Kotor, Dubrovnik, Corfu and Taranto.